gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good evening, I'm Vivian Castellanos. Tonight we'll unpack why New York's museums are racking up fire code fines and the city's ambitious push for 700,000 new homes by 2036. We'll also have an update on this morning's Bronx bus and fire engine collision. Over to you, Andre.
A river otter was observed swimming in the Bronx River this morning, marking the species' first confirmed presence there in 100 years, according to the NYC Parks Department.
Officials from the Bronx River Alliance confirmed the otter, a juvenile rescued from Long Island, was released into the river after a 6-month rehabilitation program.
The otter's presence follows a recent habitat restoration project that added native vegetation and removed debris, aiming to improve water quality and support local wildlife.
Lots to get to, let's begin, as we dive into today's news and stories shaping our city, right after this notable reminder of Bronx River's thriving wildlife. Here are our top stories. New York museums, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art, have amassed thousands of unpaid fire code violation fines due to a loophole that exempts them from payment, contradicting the coalition's procedural manual. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
Fire code inspectors have been circling the city's grand institutions for months, handing out violation notices that, under a little-known loophole, don't have to be paid. At the Metropolitan Museum, a red-tagged hallway now bears a notice that the fine sits in a ledger but never moves to a bill. Coalition of nonprofit museums across New York has confirmed that dozens of similar penalties sit unpaid, a situation that runs counter to the group's own procedural manual for handling violations. City officials say the rule was intended for small venues, yet it now shields some of the world's largest cultural sites from the costs of compliance. The unresolved fines remain on record, awaiting a policy fix. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Museum Mile.
City officials unveiled an aggressive housing plan that seeks to add 700,000 new units across New York City within the next 10 years. The initiative, detailed in the first housing report released under the 2023 City Council law mandating regular assessments, marks a central pillar of the Mamdani administration's agenda. Planners say the program will rely on a mix of new construction, rezoning of underused parcels, and acceleration of existing development pipelines. The target aims to address the chronic shortage that has driven rent spikes in displaced families throughout the 5 boroughs. Funding will draw from municipal bonds, state grants, and private sector partnerships, while the administration pledges streamlined permitting to keep projects moving. The effort is now underway, with officials urging neighborhoods to engage in the upcoming public review process as the city works toward the 10-year milestone.
New York City health officials confirmed today the city's first human West Nile virus infection of 2026. The lone case involved a person who had spent time outdoors in locations outside the 5 boroughs where mosquito exposure is known to occur. Health Department epidemiologists said the patient is currently receiving medical care and remains in stable condition. While West Nile virus is a mosquito-borne illness that occasionally produces isolated infections across the United States, officials emphasize that this represents the first confirmed case within city limits this year. The department urged residents to use insect repellent, wear long sleeves during dawn and dusk, and eliminate standing water around homes to reduce mosquito breeding. Surveillance teams are expanding mosquito testing in parks and neighborhoods to monitor any further spread.
Police seized 30 kilograms of cocaine, valued at $900,000, from multiple UPS retail locations across New York City on August 19, 2026, continuing the city's crackdown on drug trafficking. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
Police seized 30 kilograms of cocaine from several UPS retail locations across the city on the 19th of August 2026. The haul, estimated at $900,000, was discovered during coordinated raids by city law enforcement. Officers entered the storefronts. Investigators found the drugs concealed among shipping supplies in the back rooms of the stores, secured the packages, and arrested multiple suspects believed to be linked to a larger trafficking network. The operation follows a series of recent busts targeting drug distribution points in the metropolitan area. Detectives said the seizure will disrupt the flow of narcotics through courier channels and bolster ongoing investigations. Evidence collected will be processed for further prosecution. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Manhattan.
The city's top office is moving to halt a council-approved bonus for school support staff. Mayor Zoran Memdani's administration will file a lawsuit tomorrow to block a bill that would award a one-time $10,000 payment to paraprofessionals. Council members passed the measure last month with a veto-proof majority, aiming to give teacher aides a financial boost. The mayor's legal team argues the legislation violates state law that restricts public sector wage increases to collective bargaining agreements and could set a costly precedent for future pay initiatives. City officials say the challenge is necessary to protect the municipal budget and maintain compliance with state regulations. The lawsuit, expected to be filed in New York City Superior Court, marks a sharp escalation in the dispute between the mayor's office and the council over how education staff are compensated. Our next story, the controller warns the MTA's zero-emissions bus goal for 2040 is at risk. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. New York State Controller Thomas DiNapoli warned today that the Metropolitan Transportation Authority's ambitious plan to run an all-electric bus fleet by 2040 is in serious jeopardy. A state-led audit released in August 2026 identified a string of operational, financial, and procurement hurdles that could push the deadline well beyond the target. The report cites insufficient charging infrastructure, delayed delivery schedules from manufacturers, and budget shortfalls that strain the agency's ability to replace aging diesel units on time. DiNapoli said the findings require a revised strategy and stronger oversight to keep the city's climate commitments on track. MTA officials have not yet detailed how they will address the audit's recommendations, leaving riders and city leaders uncertain about when the promised clean energy buses will actually appear on New York streets.
A fuel delivery truck overturned at the Mayer Avenue and Rockaway Boulevard intersection on the Nassau County, Queens border, spilling 3,000 gallons onto the street. FDNY crews are on scene containing the hazardous spill. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
At corner of Mayer Avenue and Rockaway Boulevard, a fuel delivery truck lurched onto its side, dumping roughly 3,000 gallons of gasoline onto the roadway. Firefighters from the FDNY arrived within minutes, surrounding the spill with absorbent barriers and spraying foam to contain any ignition risk. A faint odor of gasoline lingered, and a thin haze rose from the slick surface as crews worked. Traffic on streets was halted as crews set up a safety perimeter, while nearby residents were advised to stay clear of the fumes. The department is venting the vapors and pumping the remaining fuel back into tankers, working to prevent further environmental impact near wetlands of Jamaica Bay. No injuries have been reported so far. Authorities will monitor site. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Jamaica Bay.
An MTA bus and an FDNY fire engine collided yesterday on a Bronx thoroughfare, leaving more than 12 people injured. First responders say the bus, en route on its regular downtown line, struck the engine as the fire unit was responding to an unrelated emergency call. Emergency crews extracted several passengers and firefighters from the wreckage, and ambulances rushed the injured to nearby hospitals. Officials confirmed that both the driver of the bus and the fire engine's operator were evaluated for injuries, but remained on scene to coordinate the response. The MTA announced a temporary suspension of the affected route, while investigators from the Transit Safety Board and the FDNY's Bureau of Fire Investigation examined the cause. No fatalities were reported, and traffic in the surrounding area was diverted until the site could be cleared.
Grassroots nonprofit Our Time announced today it will cease operations, ending a years-long effort that helped launch and promote Assemblymember Zoran Mamdani's political agenda in Manhattan. The organization, founded to mobilize young voters and advance progressive policies, had served as a key conduit for Mamdani supporters, coordinating canvassing, community forums, and policy briefings across the city. In a brief statement released from its downtown Manhattan office, the group said financial constraints and shifting political dynamics made continued activity unsustainable. Mamdani's campaign staff acknowledged the loss, noting the organization's role in amplifying neighborhood concerns and shaping local legislation. Former volunteers said the closure will leave a gap in grassroots organizing, especially for youth-focused outreach in the boroughs. The nonprofit will begin winding down administrative functions immediately, with plans to file final paperwork by the end of the month.
A river otter has been confirmed in the Bronx River, the first sighting in roughly 100 years, according to the Wildlife Conservation Society. The sighting confirms the species' return to the waterway. Marisol Furrer has the full story.
A lone river otter has resurfaced in the Bronx River, the first confirmed sighting in roughly 100 years, wildlife officials said. The animal was spotted early Wednesday evening by a volunteer monitoring the waterway, and its presence was verified by the Wildlife Conservation Society. Researchers noted the otter was moving along the riverbank, pausing to hunt small fish before slipping back into the current. The sighting comes after decades of surveys that found no evidence of the species in the Bronx. Conservationists hope the return could signal improving water quality and habitat conditions, though they caution that a single observation does not guarantee a permanent comeback. Marisol Furrer, GMNA News, Bronx.
Now let's turn to our meteorologist for a quick look at tonight's forecast, coming up next.
A powerful southwest jet stream is capping today's heat, steering dry air while a subtle ridge builds aloft. On this date, the city reached a record high of 88 degrees in 2015, a climax of an unprecedented late summer heat wave that hammered the Northeast. Just a year earlier, in 2014, a sharp Arctic dip drove temperatures down to a record low of 51 degrees, an outlier in an otherwise mild August. By contrast, the climatological average for today sits near a high of 82 and a low of 66, underscoring how today's warmth sits just above normal, while the cold record remains a stark reminder of variability. The live radar is completely quiet across the metropolitan area, with no precipitation echoes in sight. A high-pressure dome, reinforced by the southwest jet stream aloft, is suppressing lift and keeping the atmosphere stable. With the ridge holding, any lingering moisture is evaporating before reaching the surface, guaranteeing dry conditions for the remainder of the evening. I'll now shift to tonight's outlook. At 6 p.m., the city sits at 86 degrees under a clear sky, humidity hovering at 44%, and a gentle west wind of 11 miles per hour. Pressure is near average and nudging upward, a sign that the dry ridge will persist through the night. The jet stream, racing southwest at 79 miles per hour, continues to ventilate the column, preventing any cloud development. Sunset will arrive shortly, after which temperatures will dip to around 70 degrees by midnight, setting up a low of 70 for the overnight period. Today's UV index peaked at 7, and there are no active weather alerts. With the atmosphere remaining tranquil, the evening will stay clear and calm as we head into tomorrow. Thursday brings a high of 86 and a low of 64, with overcast skies and an 80% chance of rain as a slow-moving front lifts northward. Friday eases to a high of 81 and a low of 64. The sky clears for most of the day, but a lingering 45% chance of rain lingers in the afternoon. Saturday cools further to a high of 77 and a low of 68, and rain returns with a 55% probability, driven by a lingering trough. Sunday sees a rebound to a high of 81 and a low of 66 under overcast conditions, while Monday caps the stretch with a high of 79, low of 63, and clear skies. The sequence showcases a swing from a wet, cooler midweek to a drier, milder end of the workweek. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunset is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic, the Mets, Carson Benj NL Rookie of the Year race, and the LCN Capitals Spotlight. We will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
All major arteries are moving freely this afternoon. The Brooklyn-Queens Expressway from Greenpoint to Astoria shows no slowdowns, and the FDR Drive along the East River is clear through Midtown. The West Side Highway between Chelsea and the Meatpacking District reports smooth flow, and the Whitestone Bridge remains open with normal speeds. On the surface, 42nd Street and the surrounding Times Square grid are free of congestion, and the Holland Tunnel is operating at typical volume. With no incidents reported, commuters can expect the usual build-up around school dismissals in the Upper West Side, and the uptick on the Long Island Expressway as office workers head home after 6 p.m. Keep an eye on the Midtown East-West corridors around 32nd Street, where the post-lunch surge often adds a few minutes. Subway service is on schedule across all routes, and buses are holding regular intervals, so riders face no delays. Otherwise, traffic remains steady across the city.
The Guggenheim is throwing a huge free block party this week, right on the museum's East 88th Street location, to celebrate its new pop art exhibit. Live music, art-making stations, and a surprise Barbie screening make it the perfect end of summer hangout for families and culture lovers alike. Dominique Ansell's annual Pie Night rolls back into Soho, offering unlimited slices of 10 sweet and savory pies. It's a rare chance to sample the pastry chef's playful creations without watching the clock, and the festive atmosphere turns the neighborhood into a communal kitchen. New York's first Sake Brewery is back with an all-you-can-drink Sake Festival, featuring over 50 breweries from around the globe. Whether you're a seasoned sipper or just curious, the non-stop pours and tasting stations give you a passport to Japan without leaving the city. Finally, the Frick announces its 2026-27 season of free pop-up concerts in the Garden on the Upper East Side. The intimate outdoor setting and surprise lineups let you soak up live music while strolling through one of the city's most elegant green spaces. And now here's Desmond with sports.
Summer heat fuels a packed New York sports slate, from Mets fireworks to Giants moves. Carson Benj sparked the series, delivering a winning arm in the opener and a 2-run, 15th homer in the rubber game. The rookie right fielder's two-way impact puts him squarely in the NL Rookie of the Year mix, and Mets fans will watch his power and defense shape a playoff chase. Giants and Dolphins will meet Thursday in Miami for a joint practice, this time under a strict rules of engagement, to temper the scrimmage fights that often erupt. Coaches will use the session to assess depth and scheme fit, giving fans an early look at the Giants' preseason roster before the regular season. Owner Steve Cohen admitted the Mets took too much risk building a roster and coaching staff, riddled with turnover and injury-prone pieces. That candid assessment signals the front office may pivot toward more stability, and fans should watch for roster shake-ups and a possible shift in hiring philosophy as the club plans for next season. The Pinstripe Alley Birthday Series shines a spotlight on Yankees legends born on this date, weaving history into today's conversation. From championship heroes to infamous free agents, the feature gives fans a deeper appreciation of the franchise's legacy and reminds New York that every birthday adds another chapter to the Pinstripe saga. With Daniel Fallel off to Jacksonville, the Giants' guard rotation now leans on John Runyon Jr., Francis Moigoa, and veteran Aaron Stinney. Stinney's 9-year experience offers reliable, if unspectacular, protection, while the younger duo battles for snaps. Fans should monitor how the coaching staff blends experience and youth as the preseason unfolds. The Giants shipped guard Daniel Fallell to Jacksonville for a 6th-round pick in the 2027 draft, recouping a future asset after a brief one-year stint. The move clears a roster spot and underscores a strategy of leveraging depth for draft capital, a trend fans will track as New York reshapes its offensive line. Stay tuned, the city's games keep writing their own stories.
Thanks, Desmond. LCN Capital, a Manhattan-based real estate investment firm, is in the spotlight today. Known for financing and managing mixed-use projects across the city, LCN has helped turn vacant lots into affordable housing, schools, and community hubs. This week, Goldman Sachs announced it will acquire LCN Capital for up to $410 million, a deal that expands the bank's footprint in New York's property market. The infusion of capital promises to accelerate development pipelines, from new transit-adjacent towers in Harlem to green-roofed office spaces in the financial district. For New Yorkers, LCN means the kind of steady, locally rooted growth that keeps our neighborhoods vibrant and resilient. It's a reminder that behind every skyline change, there's a partner committed to the city's long-term health. Next, we explore the housing agency's call for 700,000 new homes. Right after the break, we will be right back. Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes, the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
Welcome back. New York City's housing agency released a neighborhood-by-neighborhood report estimating the city needs 700,000 new homes to address the housing crisis. Dominic Salerno has the full story.
An agency report released today lays out a citywide tally. New York needs roughly 700,000 additional homes to close the current housing gap. The study breaks the demand down block by block, offering the first neighborhood-by-neighborhood count of units required across all 5 boroughs. Planners say the numbers reflect the strain on families waiting for affordable space, and the agency hopes the data will guide future zoning and development decisions. Officials highlighted that without that scale of construction, vacancy rates will stay low and rent pressure will keep climbing. The report arrives as the mayor's office reviews its housing agenda for the coming year. City council members have already begun drafting amendments to zoning laws that could speed high-rise construction in underserved districts. Dominic Salerno, GMNA News, Midtown.
Metal safety coils installed between subway cars to prevent passengers from falling have been linked to injuries among MTA workers performing train maintenance, prompting safety reviews across the city's subway system. Priya Raghunathan has the full story.
Metal safety coils now strung between subway cars are turning into a hidden threat for the very workers who keep the system running. Designed to stop riders from slipping through the gap, the rigid steel loops have been snagging on maintenance crews, tools, and clothing, leading to cuts, bruises, and even broken fingers during routine inspections and cleaning. MTA officials say the devices were rolled out citywide earlier this year, but reports of staff injuries have risen sharply in the past weeks. The agency is reviewing the design and training protocols as workers voice concerns about the added risk while performing their jobs on moving trains. Priya Raghunathan, GMNA News, Manhattan.
Thank you, New York City, for joining us tonight. From the hopeful return of a river otter to the Bronx River after a century, to the stories that shape our streets, we appreciate your attention. I'm Vivian Castellanos, and we'll be back tomorrow with more of the local sunset.